What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella herself podcast. I hope everyone is having a great week and a great September. It's finally starting to actually feel like fall, and I'm so excited because this is my first fall in NYC, and it's just nice to experience that change in season and the feeling of real seasons. I got a beverage of the day check, y'all already know. I got the pumpkin cream chai latte from Starbucks today. But you know I had to add espresso because, babe, what do I look like just drinking a cup of milk with sugar? It's good. I don't think I would get it again because with all the alterations I made, it's like a $10 drink for a grande. And it's not that good. Like, it doesn't have that artificial flavor, like candle, y'all know how I describe it, flavor that some of their special drinks do. So that's good. Like, it's good. But I don't think I would get it again. It's like, okay, like one and done. If I wanted something with pumpkin, I would probably just get the cold brew. Yeah, if you want to know the order, if you want to try it. It's an iced grande pumpkin cream chai latte with light pumpkin cream cold foam because we're so skinny. Almond milk instead of regular, 2 shots of espresso added, and only 2 pumps of chai instead of 4. This is a very sweet drink, even with less chai and light cold foam and literally 2 shots of espresso added. So, if you're like me, if you prefer more coffee vibe than just like milk with so much sugar, try it, I guess, if you want to spend $10 on a coffee. But yeah, it's been so nice to start to wear sweaters and hoodies and watch the leaves change. It's just so nice and cozy, and I've been feeling very romanticizing my life recently, which I'm glad about. So today I wanted to talk a little about things I've learned as I have stepped more into womanhood and just getting older, things I wish I knew when I was younger. So this past week, I had a very busy week. It was a week where I was doing a lot for other people, which not in like a bad way. It was an enjoyable week, honestly, but it was definitely one of the more busy weeks I've had in a while. Every day having to do something and having to stay on top of stuff and doing a lot for other people. I really just needed some alone time so bad. And so I went on a little walk today. I got my Starbucks. I picked up some food and just having this time and then I came home and I ate, took a little mini nap. Now I'm doing this. Just having this time where I didn't have to worry about anyone else. I wasn't talking to anyone else. I didn't have to be on. Bro, I know it's like, we know this. You know, some of us more than others need alone time. I feel like most people need alone time to recharge. And if you think that you don't, I mean, I know everyone's different, but it's still like, babe, like, are you scared to just sit by yourself and sit with your thoughts? If the answer is yes, that's okay. But it's like, I think it's so important to be able to spend time with yourself and just be with yourself. But for me, y'all know this year has brought so many changes for me. And I think some of the main changes have been just in my alone time. I lived alone for like 6 years, and it was, I'm so grateful for that time. I feel like there was a lot of value in that, and I think everyone, especially every woman, should definitely experience living alone at some point in your life if you can. But I feel like it was almost like too much alone time, and I think the pandemic probably added to that, sometimes to the point where it kind of felt like isolation. And it's like, okay, there's only so much self-care you can do. There's only so much new steps adding to your routine. And I kind of feel like sometimes I was creating too much of a self-protective bubble where like I kind of was in control of everything because I was just basically doing everything on my own, spending all this time alone. Like, not that I wouldn't hang out with friends and stuff, but it was pretty minimal. Like, there was a lot of days that would go by in a row where like I wouldn't necessarily hang out with anyone. After moving here, moving back in with people, being around people every day so much more, it's like, oh yeah, bro, like this is great. I'm living a lot more. Therefore, I'm cherishing my alone time so much more, and I can feel the difference within myself. Like, okay, I need alone time. Like, I need to recharge. I need time just to be by myself and not have to like think about anybody else. And now I truly get that, because again, before I knew that, I knew like, yeah, we need like, yeah, sometimes I need alone time after hanging with friends all day. It's nice to come home and just like chill and unwind. But now it's like, bro, no, like, especially after just this past week, it's like, oh no, like I actually need this or I'm gonna go insane. I also think it's really about appreciating, if you can, where you are in life and in your journey. Because there's always going to be something to complain about. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just like the Virgo moon gets the best of me, you know, sometimes. I know for myself, I get very caught up in just like trying, again, I think it's like the Virgo moon, and that's perfect because it's Virgo season. So let me know if sometimes you feel like this. It's a very Virgo trait. Like, Virgo is the virgin. It's like, you want to make things pure. That's why a lot of Virgos can be kind of like, almost like rude. It's like, bitch, can you just like appreciate something for how it is? Like, you don't have to nitpick. So sometimes I also just have to remind myself, like, okay, live in the moment and enjoy the moment and be grateful for the moment. We are always in an era of our lives, you know? And let me know if you can relate to this as well. I'm very grateful for my ability to romanticize my life and kind of like create these eras. And I think it's so cool that you guys have, you know, kind of been on that journey. I think social media and just, you know, it's not even social media, because I mean, it's just like, it's art, it's taking pictures. Like, if you want to laugh at it, like, okay, it's your Instagram feed, bitch, is that really art? But you know, it's like documenting memories and like these times of your life where, you know, you listen to a song or you smell something and it just brings you back to that time. Like a certain lighting will bring you back to that time of your life. And I've just been really trying to remind myself of that recently, because I think especially as your 20s kind of go by, it's like, oh my God, I'm really getting older every year. Like, this is crazy. Time does pass. It's just so important to like stay present and stay in the moment and like not always try to rush to the next thing. So that's like a lot, but let me know if you relate to any of that. Something else I wanted to talk about as far as like advice I would give my younger self, or just to like younger women, just to women, period. So I saw this tweet that was like, a lot of relationships would be better if people were thinking, what can I do for the other person, rather than what can this person do for me? And while I think there's a lot of truth to that, I think in general, women, we're kind of taught, and I feel like for a lot of women, naturally, you know, call it like a nurturing kind of vibe. A lot of women have that, and a lot of us are socially conditioned as well to always give. Because of patriarchy and because it really is a man's world. I'm not saying like it is like innately, but I'm just saying because of the society that has been created that we live in, things revolve around men. That's why we receive these messages from such a young age that we need to look a certain way, that we need to act a certain way, that we can't do certain things, act in certain ways, or else we'll be perceived as less than and not worthy, and like, oh, you're only good for this. And that's why women are put in these different categories. It's really about control, and men really want, I think ultimately, I don't want to say all men, but like that patriarchal idea of a man, it's like they want women to be insecure so that you do what they say to feel value and to feel like that, like that's how you're getting your self-worth and your self-love, or any sense of worth and love, is from like a man's approval. That's why all these systems are created, beauty standards, and again, like the hierarchy of like, oh, are you a wife? Are you a whore? Are you this? What are you good for? And that's why you're crying over your situationship that treats you like shit, because that's how you're getting your self-worth. So regardless of all of that, I think in general, women, especially in the early stages of dating, need to give a lot less and to give a lot more to yourself. Because that's why, you know, women will end up in these horrible situations. And I'm not saying it's the woman's fault, but I'm just saying like it's very ingrained in us through society. And again, a lot of us just have a natural vibe of like, almost like this innocence, like, bro, I would help my friend. Why would I not help the man that I love, or like that I like, that I want to be with? You know, of course I want to put everything into that person, give my all to that person, but it's like, you can't. You need to take that energy and put it into yourself and if you want, into your friends, into your family, but most importantly, into yourself. People in general, not even just men, but people are always going to respect you a lot more. People are always going to respect you, period, when you respect yourself. And I just learn more and more as I get older. No one's going to have your back except for you. And you truly teach people through how you treat yourself, how to treat you. And let's not even make it about men, it's about doing what's best for you and having just, it's I don't even want to say have high standards in dating, but it's just have strong values and a strong sense of self so that anything that is not beneficial to you and your self-growth and your journey and your dreams and what you want and just your true self. Anything that is not at that level or is going to help you in that way, it won't even register to you, So it's not oh, I have this list of standards. I mean, you can do that for sure, but I think what's most important is figuring out your own standards for yourself and just putting so much into yourself that you don't even have time to register that this dummy is trying to mess with you and mess with your emotions, because you're just why would I even pay attention to something like that? Don't get caught up in playing stupid games with stupid people, specifically stupid men. Because again, men love to put women in boxes and in certain categories depending on not your behavior, yes, but ultimately how you treat yourself. If you have strong boundaries, if you have a high sense of self-worth, if you love yourself and you just have a very strong sense of self, people will definitely try to test you, yes, but they will give up when they realize that, oh, she's not going to fall for that. And I just feel so many men just want to see what they can get away with, And it just sucks that I feel a lot of women have to learn this the hard way through experience. It's not taught to us. We're taught oh, this is how you act to be a wife and a good girl. You don't want to come across like this, do you? We just receive these messages from such a young age. It's just so ingrained in us. And it's oh my God, yeah. That's why we just always want to please everybody else around us and put everyone else before us. And it's no. I had this day this week where it was just one thing after another. And I was just it wasn't even anything crazy, but I just feel my energy was on everybody around me the whole day. And I was just so exhausted and frustrated at the end of the day. No, I need some time for me. So this is the thing. You need to have a rich, as in full of life without a man, without a relationship, without a crush. I really think that is how you, therefore, it's if you want, find the right relationship for you or the right person for you, because you're not seeking something to get self-worth from or to get a sense of purpose from. You already have self-worth, you already have purpose. So anyone extra that comes along, a man especially, is only going to add to that and benefit that. And I think it really just comes down to not caring. You just have to not care. And literally, thank God for social media. Thank God you don't even need to hang out with a man and waste energy on a man to see how some of these men think, And they just have the literal dumbest thoughts and ways of thinking. It's why would I ever trip emotionally over someone someone that dumb, you know what I mean? And maybe you're watching this and you're oh my God, no, but you don't understand. There was this guy, he was the love of my life, but then, oh my God, this, that, he did this, he did that, he broke my heart. It's well, would you really want to spend any more energy on someone who would do that to you and to someone who didn't see your true value? I wouldn't. So the answer is always put yourself first and be the girl that got away. If anything, if you have to let go of a situation, it's be the one to let it go so that you can be the one that got away. And it's, again, I don't think it's oh, it's not about playing games or like, oh, like try to play hard to get. It's just like put yourself first. And it's very easy once you start really realizing and thinking about it logically, because there are so many opportunities where you will be presented with choices. Like, say someone that you, say like an ex or an ex situationship or a situationship period, like calls you up at 2 a.m. like, come over, or can I come over? You have a choice. It's like, do I put myself first, my self-worth, my sleep, my routine, my sense of self, or do I put what this man wants first, you know? And then it just becomes so much clearer. Like, the better choice becomes so much clearer once you start thinking of things in that way, like logically, and not like, oh my god, maybe like this is the time that he'll like me. Like, I don't know. Save yourself the time and the energy and put yourself first. And that's the thing too, I feel like a lot of men definitely get bored. And they will get bored if you are always saying yes to them. And they will just kind of think of you as like, okay, that's the girl that will always say yes. Anytime I call her up, she's going to say yes. She's going to do whatever I want, do whatever I say. That's kind of boring. You know, they want the next best thing. Who's going to give me a challenge? Who's going to make me work for it? So again, that's not to say you have to play games, but it's like, just take a step back and watch yourself and know when, you know, you're kind of trying to people please or like appease to someone because maybe you like them a little bit, and it's like, no. It's like, if someone asks you on a nice date and they're being respectful, it's like, yeah, if I like the person, yeah, that makes sense for me to go to. But if you're like, oh, come on this last minute plan that's so unorganized and like seems kind of like weird, like maybe someone else was supposed to go on this date but I'm the last minute option, it's like, why would I say yes to that? No. So yeah, put yourself first above anyone else, and everything else just falls into place. So that's not to say in a relationship it's like, oh, just always try to see what you can get from other people. But it's like, I think especially when dealing with men, you have to ask yourself, does this man add value to my life, and does he benefit my life? Is my life easier with him in it? Because I feel like a lot of the time the answer is no. And it's men who want to see how far they can take it with you, how much they can get out of you. So that's why it's just so important, again, especially as a woman, to put yourself first, like so much, and to have strong boundaries, and to say no, and to not be afraid to look like a bitch. Because even just in general, like in this world, people are always going to see how much they can get out of you or how far they can push it, you know? Oh, she didn't say anything this time. Let me see if I can do it again. What else can I get away with? And of course, not everybody thinks like that, but enough people do to where we're always going to run into that, you know? So it's so important, again, put the energy back on yourself and no, just practice saying no. Practice putting yourself first. Sometimes, especially if you're not used to it, it's going to feel so uncomfortable and just like you're being a bitch and mean and like wrong for no reason and like, oh my God, well, I could do that. Like, it's not even like a big deal, but it's like, no. Put yourself first and practice it until it just becomes second nature. Because you deserve it, bitch. And I don't want you to waste any time on a loser and just things that aren't worth your while and your time. No crying over people who don't treat you the way you deserve to be treated, you know? And it's like, a bitch, of course, like, cry if you need to cry, let it out. But it's like, you know what I mean? So it's not about like, oh, have no feelings, like, oh, but it's just... It's about having strong boundaries and not bending your boundaries and listening to people's listening to people's actions, men's actions, not their words. That is going to be all I talk about today. Let me know what you would add to this down below in a comment. But yeah, stay strong out there. Tell someone no today. Put yourself first. Do something to put yourself first today. And let me know what you want me to talk about next week. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And I will see you guys then. Bye, everyone.